I work the night shift at a gas station off Highway 27, the kind of place that smells like burnt coffee and rubber no matter how much you mop. Most nights are boring. A few truckers, some drunk college kids grabbing chips, the occasional cop stopping for a refill. I've been there 6 months now. It's a lonely job, but I like it that way. My manager, Tom, covers the day shift, and I take over at 10 p.m. sharp. He always gives me the same reminder before leaving. Lock the back door. Don't open it for anyone. I thought he was just being cautious. The area isn't great. Lots of empty fields, a few scattered houses, and one stretch of road where your headlights only hit darkness. But last night, I finally learned why he says that every single time. 10:04 p.m. The usual routine. Tom clocked out right after the last delivery truck left. I locked the office, checked the cameras, and did the usual. Restock the drinks, wipe the counters, scroll through my phone between customers. It was raining lightly outside, that thin mist that makes the asphalt shine. Around midnight, things got quiet. Too quiet. Not a single car passed for over an hour. Then, at 12:37, I heard it. 3 slow knocks on the back door. They weren't loud, just steady. Tap, tap, tap. I froze, mop in hand. Nobody uses that door except deliveries, and those only come during the day. At first, I thought it might be Tom. Maybe he'd forgotten something. I checked the monitor, the camera that faces the rear alley, but the screen was black. 12:40 a.m., the knock again. I walked toward the back, trying to convince myself it was nothing. The hum of the soda fridge suddenly sounded way too loud. Then the knocking started again, faster this. Tap, 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 tap. I swallowed hard and called out, "Store's closed on that side. You'll have to come to the front." No answer, just silence. I flipped the lock on the inside, double-checked it. The bolt was solid. Then I turned back to the monitor in the office and tapped the side of it. Static. Then a flash of movement. For half a second, I saw what looked like a person standing right up against the camera. Too close for it to focus. Just a pale shape. Then it went black again. 1:02 a.m., the truck. A few minutes later, a pickup pulled into the lot. The sound of gravel under tires made me jump. I felt relieved. A customer. Maybe even someone I knew. It was an old green Ford, rusted around the edges. The driver got out. Tall guy, soaked from the rain, hoodie pulled tight over his head. He came in without a word, grabbed a bottle of water, and set it on the counter. His hands were trembling a little. I rang him up. "Cold night, huh?" He just nodded. Then, almost whispering, said, "You should keep your doors locked." I forced a small laugh. "Yeah, that's the plan." He didn't smile, just turned and walked out. As he drove off, I noticed something strange. His truck bed was covered by a tarp, and something underneath it shifted slightly when he hit the bump leaving the lot. 1:28 a.m. The back camera. I went back to the monitor. Still static. So I tried switching through the feeds. Front lot, aisles, storage area. Everything normal. Then, the rear camera flickered again. This time, it showed something clearer. A pair of legs, just at the edge of the frame. Bare feet, standing in a puddle. They weren't moving, just standing there. I grabbed the phone and called Tom. It rang 3 times before he picked up. "You okay?" he asked groggily. I told him what I saw. Someone behind the store, the blacked-out camera, the knocking. He went quiet for a second, then said, "Don't go out there. Just stay inside. I'm calling the cops." "Tom, who the hell? I'll explain later. Stay inside." Then he hung up. 1:46 a.m. The police. A cruiser pulled in about 15 minutes later. 2 deputies came in, asked the usual questions. I showed them the footage, but when we played it back, the part with the bare legs, the screen was blank again. Just rain on the asphalt. One deputy, older guy, said it was probably kids messing around. The other checked the back alley and said he didn't see anyone. Before leaving, the older one gave me a little smile and said, "You're fine, but yeah, keep that door locked." They left at 2:10. 2:30 a.m. The smell. That's when I noticed the smell. Something sour, like old meat left in the sun. I thought maybe the trash bin outside had overflowed, so I went to grab gloves and step out front. When I got near the back hallway, I realized the smell was stronger there. It was coming from the crack under the back door. Then came the sound, faint at first, then clearer. "Help, please." It was a woman's voice, weak, shaky. "Hello?" I called out. Help me." I froze. Every instinct said to open the door, but Tom's voice echoed in my head. "Don't open it, for anyone." I knelt down and tried to peek through the gap under the door. I could only see the wet pavement. Then the voice spoke again, louder this time, but wrong somehow, like it was replayed through a speaker. "Help me." The same tone, the same pause, the exact same inflection, like it was looping. 3 a.m. The manager's secret. Tom arrived not long after. He came in through the front, pale and shaking. Before I could say anything, he went straight to the back and checked the locks, then turned the deadbolt again, even though it was already locked. "What the hell's going on, Tom?" I asked. He ran a hand over his face. "You didn't open it, right?" "No, I swear." He exhaled, leaning against the counter. "Good. That's good. Who was it?" He hesitated. "You ever hear about the old rest stop that used to be a few miles down the highway? The one that burned down in the 90s? I shook my head. Guy used to pick up hitchhikers, bring them there. Nobody noticed for years. Cops finally found what was left. The truck, the room he used, but not all the bodies." He looked at the monitor, still flickering static. "Sometimes, people say they see someone wandering these fields at night, barefoot, asking for help." I wanted to laugh it off, but the smell was still there, stronger now. Tom unplugged the monitor completely. "Don't touch that door again," he said quietly, "ever." 4:12 a.m., last entry. Tom stayed the rest of the night. Neither of us spoke much. Around 4 a.m., the smell faded. The rain stopped. When I stepped out at sunrise, the alley behind the store was empty. The puddles had dried into muddy streaks, but there was something near the dumpster, a set of footprints. Bare, small, leading toward the trees. The first few were clear, then they just stopped. Like whoever made them had vanished halfway through a step. I still work here, for now. The back door stays bolted, and I don't check the cameras after midnight. But sometimes, when the rain hits just right, I swear I can still hear that same voice, faint through the wall behind the cooler. "Help me." Always the same words, always the same tone, and always right at 12:37 a.m. It's been 3 weeks since the night I heard the voice behind the back door. 3 weeks since Tom told me never to touch that lock again. I should have listened. I really should have. Monday, 11:57 p.m. Things had gone back to normal for a while. Same dull nights, same smell of burnt coffee and floor cleaner. I started convincing myself it had all been in my head, the knocking, the voice, the bare feet. Tom refused to talk about it again. Every time I asked, he'd change the subject or tell me to focus on work. But the thing is, the camera kept glitching. Only the rear one, always around the same time, between 12:30 and 1 o'clock a.m. Just static, flicker, static. And last Monday, something new started happening. Whenever the camera cut out, the motion sensor lights in the alley came on. At first, I thought maybe it was an animal, a raccoon, a stray cat. But the lights would stay on for minutes at a time, then flicker off like something was pacing back there. Tuesday, 12:37 a.m. I know the exact time because I started keeping track, trying to convince myself it was a pattern, not paranoia. And at 12:37, right on cue, came the knocking. 3 slow taps, same rhythm as before. Tap, tap, tap. Only this time, it didn't stop. It grew louder, more desperate. Tap, 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 tap. Then, silence. Then, that voice again. Help me. Same tone, same pitch, like a recording playing from the other side of the metal. I stood frozen by the soda machine, staring down the hallway toward the back. My hand went to the walkie Tom had left me, but I didn't call, because deep down, I already knew what he'd say. Don't open it. Wednesday, the smell. That smell came back, rotten and chemical, like spoiled meat mixed with something burned. Customers started noticing too. One woman actually gagged at the counter. I told Tom, and he brushed it off as the pipes. Said he'd call maintenance, but he never did. That night, I brought a flashlight and checked the storage room behind the freezers. The smell was strongest near the back door, seeping through the bottom edge like something was leaking under it. When I crouched down, I saw a dark smear on the floor. It looked like oil, until I shined the light closer. It wasn't. It was blood. Thin streaks of it dried into the tile. That's when I decided I needed to know what was back there. Thursday, 1 a.m. Tom left early that night, said he was feeling sick. I was alone from 10 p.m. onward. I spent the first couple hours trying not to think about the door, but the more I tried to ignore it, the more I felt it, like a pressure building behind my ribs. At exactly 12:36, the power flickered. Every light in the store dimmed for half a second. When they came back on, I heard it again. Tap, tap, tap. I walked to the back hallway, phone flashlight in hand. The hum of the refrigerator seemed to fade the closer I got. When I reached the door, I could see the bolt trembling slightly, like something was pressing against it. I whispered, "Who's there?" No answer. Then a scraping sound, metal on metal. It came from the other side of the door, slow and deliberate, like fingernails dragging down steel. Help me. It was closer this time, like she was right up against the crack. And I swear, I could hear her breathing, shaky, wet. That's when I lost it. I unbolted the door. The alley, the cold hit me first, sharp, wet air that smelled like rust. The motion light flickered to life, and for a second, everything looked normal. Puddles, old crates, the dumpster, the empty road beyond the field, no one there. Then I looked down. There were footprints again, bare, small, leading from the tree line toward the door, only halfway this time. They stopped about 5 feet from me. The last 2 prints were deeper, like whoever made them had been standing still, watching. My flashlight started to flicker. When it steadied, there was something at the far end of the alley, near the dumpsters. At first, I thought it was a trash bag. Then it moved. A figure, crouched low, facing away. Long, wet hair hanging down over bare shoulders. She was humming, the same 3-note tune over and over again. Then she started turning her head, slowly, like she knew I was watching. I ran back inside and slammed the door. Friday, the manager's office. I told Tom everything the next morning. He didn't say a word for the longest time. Just sat there, rubbing his temples. Then he opened the drawer and pulled out a small notebook. Old, stained with coffee. He slid it toward me. Inside were handwritten notes, dating back years. Each one started the same way. 12:37 a.m. Knocking. Voice asking for help. Do not open the door. There were dozens of entries, all from previous night workers. Some had scribbles at the end, like, heard her outside again. Sounds closer. Light in alley won't go off. Smell worse tonight. Dead animal? The last entry was from 2017. The handwriting was messy, rushed. Saw her. I looked at Tom, horrified. What is this? He said quietly. This place used to be part of the old rest stop. They built the new station over it. I didn't think it would start again. Start again? I asked. He just said, don't quit. If you quit, it follows you. Saturday, 12:37 a.m. I didn't plan to go back, but I needed the job. Rent's due. I tried to convince myself it was hallucinations. Maybe carbon monoxide leaks, some logical reason. At 12:30, the lights flickered again. And this time, the voice didn't come from the back door. It came from the intercom speaker above the counter. Help me! I stared up at it, heart hammering. Then every single cooler light down the soda aisle turned off, one by one, until the whole aisle was dark. I took a step toward it, and that's when I saw it. A reflection in the glass door. Someone standing behind me. Long hair, bare feet, skin gray-blue in the flickering light. Her mouth opened wider than it should have, like it was tearing at the corners. You opened it, she whispered. The power went out completely. Sunday, 5:40 a.m. I woke up on the floor behind the counter. My phone said 5:40 a.m. The store lights were back on, humming like nothing had happened. The back door was still shut, bolted. Tom was standing outside in the parking lot when I stepped out. He didn't even ask what happened, just looked at me and said, "You saw her." I nodded. He sighed. "Then she knows your face now." Monday, final entry. It's been 2 days. I haven't slept more than a few minutes at a time. Every time I close my eyes, I see the footprints, stopping halfway through a step. I hear the same 3 knocks in my dreams. Last night, I woke up to water dripping onto my pillow. When I turned on the light, there were wet footprints leading from my window to the foot of my bed. Bare, small. I live 20 miles from the station. I'm writing this because I don't think I'll make it through another night. If you ever find yourself on Highway 27, don't stop at the gas station by the old rest stop sign. No matter how late it is, no matter how much you need gas, no matter who you think you hear behind the door, because she's not asking for help. She's asking to be let in. She knows where I live. I didn't sleep after finding the footprints. They started by the window and stopped right beside my bed, toes pointed toward me. When the morning light came through the blinds, they'd already faded, as if the carpet had drunk them in. I told myself I was overtired, that the rain outside must have leaked somehow. But the window was locked from the inside, and my shoes by the door were bone dry. 11:42 p.m. I tried to stay calm that night. Coffee, music, lights on. I even texted Tom, just to hear a real voice say everything was normal. He didn't reply. Outside, the rain had started again, the same thin drizzle that always seemed to come before the knocking. I told myself I'd ignore it this time. If she wanted to pace outside my apartment, fine. I wasn't opening anything. Then the power cut out. The apartment went black, except for the faint blue of my phone screen. I froze, listening. No thunder, no wind, just the dull hum of rain. Then came the tap, 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 not on a door this time, on the glass balcony window. 3 taps, slow and measured. 11:47 p.m. I crept to the window and used my phone as a light. The reflection showed my living room, couch, coffee table, the plant I keep killing and reviving, and behind it, the sliding glass door that opened to the tiny balcony. Nothing there, just the streetlight glowing through the mist. I held the light closer. There in the condensation were 3 handprints, small, wet, pressed flat against the outside of the glass. My apartment's on the 3rd floor. 11:50 p.m. I called Tom again, straight to voicemail. I left a message whispering his name, half hoping he'd somehow be awake and hear how scared I sounded. Then, from the hallway outside my apartment, I heard footsteps, slow, heavy, dragging. I peered through the peephole. The corridor was dark. The emergency light at the far end was out. Someone moved just beyond its reach. A faint shuffle, then a scrape along the wall. I backed away, heart pounding. Another sound came from the balcony, the metallic creak of the sliding door handle testing its latch. That was enough. I grabbed my coat and keys and bolted. 11:58 p.m. The stairs. The hallway smelled of rain and dust. Every step echoed like a gunshot. I kept glancing behind me. Sure, I'd see someone turning the corner, but no one did. Halfway down the stairwell, I realized something. The exit door at the bottom was already open, letting in the rain. It swayed back and forth on its hinge, tapping the wall each time. When I reached it, I stopped cold. In the puddle just inside the doorway were footprints again. The same small bare ones, leading up the stairs toward my floor. I should have run right then, but curiosity dragged me forward. I leaned out into the parking lot, rain hitting my face, scanning the empty rows of cars. A shadow moved near the far end by the dumpsters. Too tall for her, too broad. 12:02 a.m. Tom? I shouted before I could stop myself. The figure turned. It wasn't Tom. Even from 30 feet away, I could see that its head was tilted at a strange angle, chin almost touching its shoulder, like its neck couldn't decide where to stop. It started walking toward me, stiff steps, deliberate, as if learning to balance. I slammed the exit door and ran back up the stairs, taking them 2 at a time. Behind me, the metal door clanged shut once, then opened again with a hiss. 12:04 a.m. Inside again. I reached my apartment and fumbled with the keys, hands shaking so hard I dropped them. Something was moving in the stairwell below, a rhythmic scraping against the rail. The power flickered back on just as I shoved the door open and locked it behind me. Every light blazed, too bright after the dark. For a moment, there was silence. Then, from the bathroom, I heard a drip. Slow, steady, wrong. I stepped closer. Water pooled by the shower drain, clear at first, then tinged pink as it spread. The shower curtain fluttered slightly, though no vent was running. I grabbed the curtain with both hands and yanked it open. Nothing. Just a damp towel and the faint smell of iron. The lights dimmed again. 12:08 a.m. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. Static hissed for a full 5 seconds. Then a voice, thin and strained. "You shouldn't have opened it." I froze. "Tom?" The line clicked dead. 12:11 a.m. Something thudded against the front door. Once, twice, 3 times. The same rhythm. Tap, tap, tap. The handle rattled violently. Then a whisper through the crack between the door and frame. "Please, let me in." It wasn't pleading this time. It was angry. The chain lock stretched, groaned, held. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed the biggest knife I owned, and pressed myself into the corner, trying not to breathe. The knocking stopped. For 10 long seconds, There was only rain. Then, a sound I can't forget. The scrape of fingernails traveling slowly across the door, from bottom to top. When they reached the peephole, the pressure stayed, like an eye looking through from the other side. I lifted my phone and took a picture, half expecting to catch her silhouette. The photo showed only darkness and a faint reflection of my own face, smiling. 12:16 a.m. The smile in the photo was wrong. Too wide, eyes unfocused. When I lowered the phone, the door was still. No sound, no scratching. I backed away, phone trembling in my hand, and dialed 911. The operator answered. I started to explain, stumbling over my words. Halfway through, she cut me off. "Sir, are you calling from the gas station off Highway 27? My stomach dropped. "No, I'm at my apartment in town." "That's odd," she said quietly. "Your call's routing from that location." The line filled with static again, and the lights blinked off for the last time. 12:20 a.m. The escape. I grabbed my keys and ran for the balcony. Rain sheeted down outside, the alley below empty except for puddles. The streetlight flickered 1, 2, 3 times, then steadied. When I slid the door open, a gust of cold air hit me. The smell of the gas station, burnt coffee and oil, filled the room. Behind me, somewhere inside, I heard the creak of floorboards. I climbed over the railing. 3 floors up isn't far if you're desperate. I hung there for a heartbeat, then dropped into the wet grass below. Pain shot up my ankle, but I ran anyway, barefoot, sprinting across the lot until I reached my car. 12:29 a.m. The road. The highway was nearly empty. I drove toward the city lights, wipers slapping furiously, mind replaying everything in jagged flashes. Footprints, the smile, that voice saying my name. At mile marker 27, my headlights caught a figure on the shoulder. Small, soaked, head tilted. I swerved. The car fishtailed. In the mirror, the road was empty again. I didn't slow down. 1:03 a.m. I'm sitting in a parking lot outside a 24-hour diner now, writing this on my phone. The rain has stopped, but my windshield keeps fogging, as if someone's breathing against the glass from outside. I texted Tom again. This time the message went through. "Me, she found me. Tom, I know. She never stays at the station long." My hands are shaking so hard I can barely type. There's a knock on the passenger window. 3 times. Soft. Steady. I haven't looked yet. If I survive the night, I'll post an update. If you see a green Ford pickup parked near a diner off Highway 27, keep driving. Whatever's standing beside it isn't looking for help. She's just making sure you notice her. Back to the gas station. I spent the next 2 days in a haze. The diner parking lot became my base. I barely slept, constantly checking the mirrors, the shadows, even the ceiling for movement. The green Ford was gone. The street was quiet, but I knew it hadn't left. Not really. By nightfall, I realized I couldn't run anymore. Every road, every highway, every motel felt like a trap. It was time to go back. 10:47 p.m. Arrival. The gas station sat there like a rusted tooth in the middle of empty fields. Rain had started again. Light, persistent, turning the lot slick. I parked across the street, headlights off, staring at the building. Everything looked normal. The flickering neon sign buzzed. The pumps glistened with wet asphalt reflections. But the back door, the one Tom always warned me about, seemed darker, almost absorbing light. I grabbed a flashlight and my phone, checking the battery on both. I had to see it for myself. If I didn't, I'd never stop feeling it behind me, on my heels, in my dreams. 11:03 p.m. The door. I crept toward the back alley. Puddles reflected my flashlight beam, each step revealing small, wet footprints, just like the ones in my apartment. They led straight to the back door. I froze. The bolt was already loose, like someone had expected me. A soft whisper carried on the wind. "You came back." The voice. Her voice. It wasn't pleading, it was waiting. I swallowed hard and pushed the door open. 11:05 p.m. The alley inside. The smell hit me immediately. Burnt coffee mixed with something metallic and old. Inside the alley, shadows stretched impossibly long. Crates and trash cans seemed to move when I wasn't looking. And then I saw her. Not fully, just glimpses. A figure crouched behind the dumpster, hair wet and draped like a curtain over her face. Her eyes glinted in the flashlight beam, wide and unblinking. She didn't move, yet I felt her presence circling me. Every instinct screamed to run, but curiosity or stupidity kept me frozen. I called out, "What do you want?" No answer. Just the sound of wet footsteps in the puddles behind me. 11:12 p.m. The basement. I noticed a side door I'd never seen before. Warped wood, peeling paint, a padlock rusted through. Something inside me said it led to the origin. The reason this kept happening. I forced it open. Inside, a narrow staircase spiraled down into darkness. I stepped carefully, every creak of the old wood echoing through the space. At the bottom, I found it, a room filled with old motel-style furniture, remnants of the old rest stop Tom had mentioned. Broken chairs, a ripped mattress, and on the floor, more footprints, hundreds of them, leading nowhere. Then I saw the wall. Names carved into the wood, dates, initials, scribbles, all spanning decades. Some read like warnings. "Don't open it. She waits. Never let her in." And at the very bottom, scratched deep into the floor, "She's always hungry for attention." 11:26 p.m. The encounter. I turned to leave, and she was there. No crouching, no shadows, fully visible. Wet hair, pale skin, barefoot. The same wide smile, the same eyes. She tilted her head. "You shouldn't have come back." I swung the flashlight like a weapon, but she didn't flinch. The beam seemed to pass through her. I backed toward the stairs, tripping over a crate, heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. She stepped closer. Each footfall silent. Impossible. I ran. 11:31 p.m. The chase. Up the stairs, down the alley. Her footsteps echoed mine, but never landed the same. I grabbed a nearby trash can lid as a shield. Swinging at shadows. The rain soaked me, chilling every bone, but adrenaline carried me forward. She wasn't trying to hurt me. Not yet. It was a game. Watching. Learning. Her presence pressed against me, and the alley seemed smaller, narrower, twisting impossibly as I ran. 11:37 p.m. The pump lot. I reached the front lot. The neon buzzed overhead. The pumps glimmered like beacons in the storm. Then I saw it. The green Ford, hood up, engine dead, sitting exactly where it had been when I first saw her in the truck. I didn't stop to question it. I jumped into my car, doors locked, started the engine, and in the rearview mirror, she stood by the back door, barefoot, hair wet, smiling, waiting. I floored it. 11:44 p.m. Highway 27. The highway stretched before me, rain slick and empty. I glanced in the mirrors. Nothing. No lights. No figure. I exhaled, almost convinced I'd escaped. Then I saw it. A shadow moving in the middle of the road, just ahead. I swerved hard, heart in my throat. It disappeared when I looked again. Every mile felt like an eternity. The radio crackled with static, then a whisper. You can't leave. 12:12 a.m. Safe? I reached the city limits. Street lights, people, noise. I parked in a 24-hour convenience store, heart still hammering. I called Tom. Did you get out? He asked. I think so. He didn't say more, just told me to keep driving. Don't stop. I'm on the road now, writing this in my phone, the green Ford nowhere in sight. For now, I'm alive. But I know it's out there, waiting, watching, learning. I don't know if I'll ever be safe. And if you ever see a gas station on Highway 27, at night, flickering neon, rain-slick pavement, don't stop. She's still there. She's always there. And she knows where you live.